Mark, what are you doing? You're flipping.
It's the year of the flip book.
It is the year of the flip book. Yeah, we got a couple things to take a look at today. We're going to take a look at the latest installment in the We Are Yesterday crossover, and we're going to take a look at Free Comic Book Day, the Absolute Universe part of their flip book. So we're going to do all that right after this. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're alerted whenever we upload, and the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. Don't forget to leave us a comment and hit that like button, that little thumbs up right below it, right down there. Don't forget to hit that before you go. So helps with the algorithm gods. So we had no absolute issue proper this week, but we're going to get to the Free Comic Book Day in just a second because it was just as important as anything you would find in an absolute proper book. But we're going to start with this. This is part 3. This is the absolute all in. This is Salvador LaRocca. This is
That's
the
a gorgeous cover. Look at the Legion of Doom in its
yeah,
painted glory.
yeah.
Ooh, that looks good.
Mm,
I got just a regular Dan Mora connecting cover, completing the 3-issue connecting set.
I did too.
I knew you would. I knew you would. It's in there.
um, but this is the crossover between World's Finest and Justice League Unlimited, the first all-in crossover. We Are Yesterday. Basically, what has happened is this is a Gorilla Grodd centric event that's going on. He has traveled from what would be the present, I guess, back to the past to put his mind inside of his past self, and then he has used that to bring the Legion of Doom from the past to the present.
It's all over the past, though, right? Because he took
Exactly.
his enhanced self, because he
Hmm.
has the Martian Manhunter powers from the power swap,
Right.
and he went and put his mind in his stronger body, and then he went and plucked Legion of Doom members from points of the past, right? They're not all from the
Right.
same shared moment.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, so he's got a what he feels is his best possible scenario Legion of Doom, and he spends the first little bit of this explaining to them that right, this is the issue where he explains it like we got to do this together because y'all failed in the future, right? And he used Sinestro to show
Exactly.
everyone.
He uses yes, exactly, because Sinestro
Yeah.
can actually, with his yellow ring, can see into the future. Apparently, can see things in the future, and um, he
Yeah, he
basically is
explains to all the Legion members like why he brought him here, what he's doing here, and why their futures are written in stone are going to be crap. And not all of them necessarily believe him until he uses Sinestro to show them and convince them. And he shows them this 2-page splash of what the superheroes become. This
right.
giant team with this watchtower and how they've all been bested, and some of them are like just in weird places and everything, and how our best bet is coming at them now together.
Right, and we get the classic Legion of Doom right out of the Super Friends cartoon. We get Luther in his armor. We get the Joker. We get the Scarecrow. We get Cheetah. We get Sinestro. We get Bizarro. We get all of them, including Gorilla Grodd. Um, but then what we find is that the Gorilla Grodd has this plan to basically, at points in time, he's sending basically strike teams to go and acquire different time traveling devices because he's
MacGuffins, if you will.
looking for tachyons.
We
That's what he's
need the
looking for.
tachyons.
We need the tachyons, and all of those are there at different places. And so the Legion, the Justice League, in their time, find out that he's doing this, and so they also then send strike teams to try and defeat the Legion of Doom at different points. Um, so we get a Batman and a Robin who is still Dick Grayson, obviously, because again, in the World's Finest stories, the Batman and Robin are still Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson. Um, but then we also get they have Diana's off in space, Supergirl is off somewhere, so they have this third person who's been working with the FBI that is going to Superman's going to take one team, Batman's going to take another, and this other person that we don't know at this particular time is going to take the third team. We find that the at the same time that Grodd is also kind of has this kind of backup plan, a plan B, that he is using with the Pythoness, right? I
Yeah, a
believe.
character who's dead in current times but alive in the past, that he's using
Right,
that to like, hey, you might want to help us out because you're dead in the future if you don't.
right.
But he has her holding back while you got like Joker and Scarecrow in one location. You have Luther, Captain Cold, and Bizarro running on the cosmic treadmill,
Mhm.
and it's pretty fun. And you just kind of get the superheroes busting in and fighting and trying to stop them. And the villains ultimately are getting away with their little doohickeys, and you get the little bit of bickering in here, which is great because it is a team of villains and them not necessarily understanding why we have to do everything Grodd's way. Why can't we just attack the heroes proper? And he's like, because if you let these heroes know what you're stealing, their future selves will find out and know to be able to stop us. And
Right.
I thought it was really cool. We get one team with Sinestro and Black Manta breaking into Professor Hyatt's laboratory in Ivytown, where they get uh, the defense of Plastic Man comes in to fight him, which
Mhm.
is cool. So that's one of the cool things. It's about any World's Finest issue, and it's not limited to this little crossover. You're still going to get great guest characters popping in that you don't normally see in any other books. That was pretty cool. But again, they ultimately get away, even with the heroes popping in and trying to intervene. And ultimately, Scarecrow takes a pot shot and hits Robin. And Robin,
Because Scarecrow wanted a ray gun.
he did want a ray gun. Big fan of ray guns. Yeah. But he did take a pot shot and hit Robin, and it seemingly took Robin to an undetermined time in the past. We don't know. But Robin's off the board in the World's Finest era.
Right. Meanwhile, you said the Scarecrow and Batman is going to have to go after the Scarecrow and the Joker. And that's after the Joker gets a whiff of the Scarecrow's gas as well. That's
Goes all
when
crazy.
later, yeah, exactly. Joker hits. Sorry, Scarecrow hits Robin with the ray gun. Meanwhile, Batman, actually, Plastic Man is then he ends up being saved by Green Lantern, who comes in as well. So your point, we constantly are getting different heroes that are coming and going. And Grodd says, you know what's going to happen? The future Justice League is going to know exactly what we did at all these times. So they're going to be waiting for us to show up. So they're going to know exactly when we did things. And what happens is we find out what the plan B is with the Pythoness.
Yeah.
She basically uses her magic to basically entrance everyone to believe that it was all Cheetah. Cheetah did all of these things. Cheetah is left in the past. Grodd and everybody else are flung to the future.
Yeah, Pythoness is left in the past as well, isn't she? Or
Right,
did he take her with him? No, they just left Cheetah. That's right.
right,
Yeah, so all the heroes that tried to stop them from stealing these things ultimately failed, and they got the little magic woo woo from Pythoness, and they don't even remember fighting them at all. And Cheetah was just a fall guy for him and doesn't return to the future. And we even get a uh, little scene of them kind of with her in jail. They got her, and they're kind of flabbergasted that she could have pulled this stunt off all by herself. I don't remember her being this smart. And when we turn the page, we see the Watchtower in the future, and we see Robin stand up, look at Batman, and Batman turn around and see Robin standing right next to himself in an older form as Nightwing. So Robin has now made it to present time where he's standing side by side with himself in front of his mentor Batman. And that's
right.
where it ends. Next, Paradox continued in We Were Yesterday, Part 4, Batman, Superman.
Yes. And then there was a backup story, which I thought was oddly placed in World's Finest.
This was a phenomenal backup
It
story, and it
was
was
a phenomenal
placed
backup story.
perfectly. It's just weird that it was in this event.
Right.
Makes no sense. So, World's Finest is an ongoing series, and we're up to issue like 30 something, right? It's been going for a
38,
while.
38, 39. Yeah.
38. And what it is, it's its own title set in an unspecific time in the past where they're not burdened with modern day continuity, telling stories with whatever characters they want and everything. And it's fantastic. And one thing that they've done is you get like the introduction of characters told in World's Finest, and the backup story is the first introduction of John Stewart in World's Finest, the first time he's appearing. So it's his origin and not his origin proper. It's told in a sense where he's at a place, thing breaks out, Hal pops up as Green Lantern to save the day and knows who John Stewart is and talks to him about the ring in his pocket and the responsibility that he ultimately needs to accept. And it's John Stewart ultimately putting the ring on and accepting the role as Green Lantern. We don't see the Guardians first come to him. We don't see that. We get a little bit of flashback to his childhood, and it was a beautiful story.
It
I
was.
loved it. I legitimately loved it. But I'm excited to see Green Lantern in general. Like, give me Green Lantern content, and And Hal pops up a lot. Hal was a big part in World's Finest. Even at the beginning, we got the fusion character that they created using Hal and everything, which was awesome. So I'm excited to see what they have planned for John Stewart and any and all Green Lanterns in the World's Finest title. It's consistently one of the best ongoing books on shelves just for
Yeah,
DC fans.
it is, and it's to your point too. It's not, in a lot of ways, it's not really confined by a lot of,
Mm-mm.
it's kind of sits in almost like its own pocket universe kind of type
I
thing.
still think of the Amazo event that happened in this book on a regular basis. And that's
Hmm.
the cool thing about it. It doesn't do tie-ins, it doesn't do crossovers, it doesn't do all that. This is the first like crossover it's done, and it's something really miniature.
Hmm.
But what it does do is it tells stories that are massive in scale. You'll
Hmm.
have just like a little one or two issue, like look back at the early days of Luther and Joker meeting or Clark and Bruce meeting. But then they'll tell these like 6 issue story arcs that are just they could be events if they wanted to be. But when people complain about events with tie-ins and
Hmm.
you got to read all this and that, you don't. You can read World's Finest and get mega events with tons of characters all in just single issue, 6 in and out, done. It's a great title.
Yeah, it really is, and and it's a person to write it. Mark Waid, who has an encyclopedia-like knowledge
Mr.
of these universe.
DC. He's
Exactly.
Mr. DC these days.
So this past Saturday was also Free Comic Book Day, and we got this. Um, we also got this, but you can almost cut this in half and
You
just keep the
should.
back half.
Yeah, I'd argue you should. Real quick, Superman Unlimited is the new ongoing title that's coming soon that Dan Slott will be writing a lot of talk. You get your first preview of that. That's what's on half of it. So if you see this book on the shelves, know that the absolute DC is on the other half. Just like when we first got the
The
first
all
appearance of the
special, yeah.
all, it was an all-in special flip book, and that so New Comic Book Day did a flip book. So either cover you see, it is the same book, and get it because you want the absolute stuff. It's the hottest selling stuff in comic books right now across all publishers.
Hmm.
This story is a must read no matter what titles you're picking up. If it's just Batman or Superman, if you're picking up all of it, you have to pick this up. It affects all of it.
It does. We basically get a lot of narration through someone who is observing different things. Observing originally we see him observing absolute Batman. Then we see him observing absolute Superman, and then of course we see him observing absolute Wonder Woman, and we see all of these things. And we start to realize that he seemed to have something planned for all of these people.
Yeah, and it's pretty much giving you a who's who from an outsider perspective. Like spoiler alert, because it shows you right from the get go. The guy is observing Batman and like folding into a puddle, observing Superman from a reflection on a broken shard of glass, observing Wonder Woman from the reflection in her sword. So it's Mirror Master. It's Absolute Comics Mirror Master. We first saw him on the last page of Absolute Flash issue 1 as a big tease, but he wasn't in issue 2. But now here he is. So not only was he observing Flash, now we find out in this that he's observing all of the characters and not just the main three. He has his own little hideout, whatever, where he's observing everybody, all these meta entities in this absolute world. And like you said, he has a plan for it. Soon I'll have the whole picture. He's trying to understand who these people are, and he's almost like Charlie from It's Always Sunny. He's got his yarn, he's got his sticky notes, he's got his board, and he knows that there's something Omega out there. He sees more than everybody else. He has the clues of this whole creation. What does this symbol mean? What is it?
Right.
We the readers know, but what does he think it is? Most importantly, and you know what I'm about to say,
Dr. Fate.
absolute Dr. Fate's helmet is right there.
Exactly. Yeah, and if for people, and again, the Absolute Universe is also for people who have been familiar with the DC Universe for many years. For a while, there was this thing where they would do these whiteboards, right? And they would do these, and they would have little sticky notes on them, and they would be little kind of hints or whatever to things that were upcoming in the DC Universe. So we have the Absolute Dr. Fate. We have the Omega with the Booster Gold star inside of the Omega sign on another one. Despero,
Black
we
stars.
yeah, you know,
What is
so
the temple of the fourth world? So there's a temple now to the fourth
right,
world. To
the
what
beginning
end
is
the
the
Omega
end.
men?
To what end the Omega Men? Right. So these are all things that'll be coming up. And just as he's talking, narrating this, and he's looking at this board, suddenly appearing out of nowhere is
Well, look what we have here.
so we have both Mirror Masters from both universes now working together.
So this is the
Um,
first time a character from the main and absolute have come into contact with each other. It's not the first time the universe is crisscrossed. We know that the absolute legion of superheroes,
it's been Booster Gold, yeah.
the absolute legion of superheroes was looking at Time Trapper Doomsday at the end of Superman, but we also don't know in that aspect with Time Trapper at the literal end of time
Mhm.
what's the
Right,
foundation of that universe. But Booster Gold has been kidnapped and
right.
entrapped in the absolute world and is a prisoner of the Legion of Superheroes since the DC All In special. So yeah, things are heating up. And does this mean that this character is going to cause an absolute event, an absolute crossover? We don't know, but
Right.
we do know that he is looking at all these characters. This is the first time we had an absolute character tied to all the absolute characters together. The first time they're not just self-contained.
Mhm.
So it was so much potential with this. It was fantastic. It was just
It re-
fun.
Yeah, and Scott Snyder did say that there would be a crossover sometime probably in the fall. He said originally it was just going to be the three originals, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. But we'll see if
Yeah,
now
they
that
took a
maybe
Flash
extend.
villain, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it kind of also makes sense, because if anyone's going to be able to look at the two mirror universes, I got one of those too. If anyone's going to look at the two mirror universes, it's gonna be those two.
it's
So
interesting that it wasn't, it was Flash originally in the main universe. It's interesting now that it's a villain in this one instead of being
yeah,
Barry Allen and Jay Garrick. Yeah, the two Mirror Masters. It's still a Flash character. Very
yeah,
cool.
yes, right, Finn. Oh no! Oh no! Wow! Don't do
Did you
that.
tell Paul, hey?
Hi.
You tell everyone
Hi.
who's watching this tomorrow, hey?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So that's gonna be it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment, leave Finn a comment. Tell him he's got to be nicer to his dad.
I'll grab his face off. The end.
No, no. You're gonna have to say something for me then, friend, okay? Um, so I am Paul, he is Mark. Now you have to say, but we are Legion, Finn. Say it, Finn.
We are Legion.
And you're now leaving sector 2815.